lot of drinking, a lot of partying, and definitely not following Christ at all.
Were you saved later in life then?
Our relationship changed pretty much overnight.
And he was like, well, that's
Right.
not going to happen. Like, we're not going. And I was like, We knew this is where God had us. Our daughter, she said, I know our house. God showed it to me in a dream. Curtis was due, and we were at church in labor that day.
No. Is that something that drew you in, helping to provide that for others?
We both kind of, whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
Welcome to Changed Lives, a special limited series in which I explore the incredible stories of the people behind the scenes at Life Action, a ministry with a mission of reviving relationships through transformative events. Each of these individuals, my coworkers, have experienced God move in big and unexpected ways. The more I heard their stories, the more I thought, people need to hear this. In this series, you'll get a first-hand look at how God is working in and through the people of Life Action, the challenges they face, the faith that sustains them, and the lives being transformed along the way. Their stories are powerful. Today I'm sitting down with Rick and Megan Martin, two people whose lives were radically changed when they came to know Christ as adults. That encounter sparked a deep passion to serve together in ministry as a family. Their story is one of courageous faith, fresh purpose, and the unmistakable ways God confirmed their calling. As you listen, think about how your own story could create a ripple effect in someone else's life. Life Action moves forward through prayers, generosity, and the kind of personal transformation you'll hear from Rick and Megan today. Who knows? Maybe God is inviting you to step into something deeper too. Enjoy this conversation with the Martins. Today I am joined by Rick and Megan Martin. Thank you both for coming in today to share your story with me. I'm looking forward to hearing it. So, Rick, tell me a little bit about what's your title and what do you do here at Life Action?
I'm currently serving as the event service manager, event service operations manager. And I just kind of new into that role, so I don't even know what that is right now. Also still doing some facilities work with this off season. That's kind of what we're doing
Yeah.
right now.
Sure. And so a lot of your work you're anticipating will be probably at the camp area.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Out at camp, interacting with guests a lot more,
Mhm.
which will be fun for me.
Yeah, are you excited about that?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well, we'll get into that as to why that would be exciting for you, and we'll talk about how you got here. And so Megan, you and Rick are married, and what's life like for you right now?
Stay-at-home mom, 2 kiddos, homeschool, and working part-time at our church and kids ministry.
Very cool. So you're busy too.
Staying
You
busy.
might be busier than he is from one
Some
mom to
days.
the other. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right, well, great. Let's talk about who you were before you got here. So, Megan, I'll start with you. So, where did you grow up?
West Central Illinois,
Mhm.
small town, about 3,600 people.
That is small. That's smaller than Buchanan. Mm-hmm. And what was life like?
I have 3 siblings,
Okay.
all younger,
Mhm.
2 sisters and a brother.
All right, so you're the oldest daughter.
I'm the oldest.
All right.
So just helped a lot with the younger kids.
Mhm.
And after high school, I went off to college. I have a degree in math and secondary ed. So taught for a couple years, did some other odd jobs. The teaching market wasn't great in our area.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, rural. And then became a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. Did you always want to be a teacher?
I did.
Okay. Did you go to public school or were you homeschooled?
Public school.
All right, you're a public school girl.
Yep.
Wanted to be a school teacher.
Yep.
Did you teach math?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. At high school level?
Yes.
Did you like that?
Yeah. I love teaching. I
Uh-huh.
love kids. Administration's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah. If we could, I was a teacher too for about a decade. If we could have just taught.
Yeah. Yep.
But
If
there's
you
so
could
much
just
more
do it.
to teaching.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then you guys meet up and we'll get to that story, but then you eventually decide you're going to school your own kids and stay at home. Okay, very cool. All right. When you were growing up, did you guys attend church? Was that part of your life?
No. I would go on a rare occasion with a great aunt
Okay.
that took me. In high school, I would go to like youth group. Mostly that was honestly to just get away from home. The relationship between me and my dad wasn't great. And
Mhm.
so any reason to be out of the house was a good reason.
Gotcha.
Luckily, God took me there instead of other choices that could have been made.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't really have a relationship with him, seeds were planted then. And to look back now, we can see his faithfulness in all of it.
Yeah. So your great aunt would take you,
Mhm.
pick you up sometimes and go. Would your siblings go sometimes or mostly
No.
just you?
So I'm 8 years older than
Okay.
the oldest of the younger kids.
Mhm.
And so they would have been quite a bit younger
Mhm.
at that time.
Mhm. Now, were you saved later in life then after that?
Almost 30.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Did you guys know each other yet?
Mhm.
Okay. So
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold off on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So now we're gonna go over to you. So where did you grow up?
So if you thought the town of 3,600 was small, I grew up in a town of 450,
Oh.
which was about 7 miles away from where
Oh,
the
can they
town
really
she
call it a town or is it a
I think it was
village?
called a village.
Uh-huh,
Yes,
a
it was
village,
called a
yeah.
village. Yeah.
So how far away from her?
About 7 miles.
Oh, okay.
So 2 different school districts.
Right.
So
They're now consolidated.
they're
So
yeah, since
it's
we've graduated, they've consolidated.
Sure.
But
Okay.
yeah.
What was life like for you growing up then?
Busy, I guess. All through junior high and stuff, I did a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Got into high school, would rather work than do the sports.
Mhm.
So just do that. I've got a older sister and a younger brother.
Okay.
Mm, Um, not much church stuff when I was a kid either.
No.
And yep. So we'll get to that. We was both around 30 when we got saved.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
All right. And so when you graduate high school, do you go off to college? Do you go to the workforce? What does that look like for
Started
you?
working in a machine shop
Okay.
and did that in 2 different machine shops for almost 10 years,
Hmm.
and then went to work for a farmer full time. Did that for about 10 years, and did some crop consulting after that. Right before we came to Life Action.
Okay. So then tell me the story. How do your paths converge? How do you meet?
mutual friends the summer before senior year. We kind of were just hanging out at the same spot because of mutual friends and
Where's the hangout spot in the rural area here?
a car wash.
Uh-huh. See, I asked that question
Car wash or
because
Central Park.
growing
yeah.
up here in Buchanan, the village of Galeen was right next. And so it's like, where do we hang out? Usually we would hang out behind the gas station on the hill. So
Yeah.
I was thinking it would be kind of a
Yeah.
similar place, the
Yep.
car wash. Okay.
Yep.
So you're hanging out at the car wash. Wasn't it funny back then? You would just you didn't have cell phones. So you'd at least we didn't. And we'd drive around to see where everybody
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Okay, yep, everybody's at
Cruise
the
the
car
loop.
wash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cruise the
You
loop.
cruise the
Yep.
loop. Okay, so you meet there, and then do you start dating right away? How does that work?
No, I mean, I think we were probably friends for a couple of months before we really started dating.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had gone away to for the week. It was a girls' state, is what it was called. So you went to learn all about like political whatever.
Yep.
And so I was gone, and I missed 2 people: my baby brother, who was actually an infant at the time. So I was 16, and him. And so I called a mutual friend and got his cell phone number and used my phone card from the dorm room at the college campus we were staying on and called him.
Oh, were you happy about that?
Yeah. Yeah, we ended up talking a lot during that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you start dating.
Yep.
And so then after high school, you go off to college, you get your teaching degree, you go to work. Are you still together at that
Yep.
point? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
She
So
went to school 3 hours away from where he was.
oh
and-
wow.
Yep.
So it was like a long distance thing
Yep.
for a while.
Yep.
4.5
For
years.
Yep.
Okay. And you made it.
Yep.
Yep.
And then at what point do you get married then?
Let's see. I finished school in December. We got engaged in April. It was a year and a half after that, in September. So 2009.
You get married back at home.
Yep.
Okay. Well, the friends. All right. And then what is life like at that point? Because you're not 30 yet. So what what was life like then?
So I would have been working in the machine shop, pump
Mhm.
machine shop, doing that, and actually a lot of drinking, a lot of partying, and definitely not following Christ at all.
Both of you?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was that just part of life? Like
Yep.
that's just what you guys
Yeah.
were doing?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And especially then, hated my job and
Uh,
just soaked that in alcohol. And I started working part time for this farmer just because I wanted to be in agriculture. That's our whole area is
Mhm.
agriculture, and that's kind of everybody's dream is to farm. And so I started doing that just on the side, and great Christian family,
Mhm.
and I think he kind of offered me the job just because he knew what was going on, and so we kind of worked that and did that for a couple years, and then he offered me a full time
Wow.
job there.
In addition to work, did when you look back now, do you feel like he was investing in you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just saw somebody that maybe needed somebody to come alongside them.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then gave you a full-time job.
Hmm.
Okay. And so at what point then do you realize that you need to be saved?
So in 2012, we had a miscarriage early term. And it was kind of then that we just saw like we had God was the only way to get through it. Um, of course, we ran from that because our lifestyle was completely opposite.
Mm.
Um, and I know for me, I spent a solid couple of months, deep depression,
Mm.
burying in alcohol. Um, but then after we got pregnant with our son Curtis, who's almost 11 now, I was like, God got a hold of my heart and just said, like that's not the way you're gonna raise him.
Hmm.
Um, and so I had started talking to actually a cousin of his that went to a small church. Like, well, like the fear of judgment. Like I'm pregnant coming to church and my husband may or may not join me. And we actually headed to go get groceries on a Friday night like we often did. We're just driving along and he says um,
Th-
that Brian, his boss, had asked if he'd see us on Sunday. And he would apparently periodically throw out that question. So I looked at him and I said, and I'm like, where are you going with this? And he's like, well, I thought about it. I'm like, okay, well, hold on, because I've been thinking about it. And if you're
Wow.
thinking about it, we need to like
Wow.
talk about this and do something. And so within a couple of weeks, we actually went to a very small church that his
Even smaller town.
Was this the one your boss went to?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Church that he went.
Can't hide in
Um,
that church.
No. No, which we actually picked that weekend because friends of his bosses that were from the South had come up.
Yeah.
And so we knew there would be other different people there,
Sure.
you know? And so it wouldn't be all about us being the new people.
Mhm.
There were other people that
Yeah.
the congregation members would want to talk to. But then we just never left. Like it was just right.
What about it can you pinpoint that felt
Because
right?
it was so small, it was like a family.
Sure.
Yep.
Just the people.
Yep. It was, and then just a great group of people that just loved you. We still got some that's like almost grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a church of like 40 every Sunday.
And I'm 6 months pregnant
Hmm.
with Curtis. And we kind of just jumped right in.
Hmm.
Started going to Sunday school classes. And by the beginning of the next year, we were taking like membership class. Curtis was due the 11th of February. And they had scheduled our baptism for the 9th. And the pastor that was there at the time found out that that's when we were due. And he said, let's push that back a month because I'm not sure I want to baptize a woman who's in labor. And we were at church in labor that day.
No.
Yeah. So then he was born on a Monday morning and was in church on Sunday.
Wow.
I just remember it like we walked through the door and one of the sweet older ladies, she's like, okay, when was the baby changed? When was the baby fed? Go to Sunday school. But they just loved on us. Like
Yeah.
we had always been there.
You didn't really grow up going to church. So were you nervous to go? Or were you just like, God's been working on both of our hearts? Like,
Yeah.
we just
We
gotta
just
go.
had a peace.
We're just gonna show up.
Yep.
Yep.
Hmm.
We just had a piece about it. And we had like different people. Like when you look back, we can really see different people at different points in our lives who were influencing us in
Mhm.
that way.
Mhm.
We just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
You know?
Doesn't it really speak to the power of investing in other people's lives? Because you don't know, right? You don't know how God is using you to plant those seeds, and you might feel like it feels unfruitful to continue inviting this person, but you just don't know how God is working in that.
Yeah.
And so, amazingly, there are people who listen
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
do that. And I bet if I asked, I bet you've become people like that because people
Mhm.
have invested in you. So I'm sure that's part of your story. So how did life change? I mean, was it a dramatic change? Was it immediate? How did that
Oh
work?
yeah, it was pretty immediate. The major partying, drinking
Yeah.
stopped, and still
Mhm.
did some occasional stuff,
Mm.
but um, yeah, and like our relationship changed
Mm.
pretty much overnight. We used to argue and fight and all types of stuff, and didn't do it well, just did it, um, and really just since then, I mean, we've had our arguments, but
Mm.
it's nothing. It's just we're um, much more calm with each other,
Mm.
and
And I don't know if we even really noticed it at first.
mhm.
But we had people who obviously like knew us before
Yeah.
who would go, You guys have changed.
Mm.
Like this is different." Um, and then just to stop and be like, "Oh,
Mm.
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is very different."
yeah. The first time someone
Um,
said that, it was like, no, not really. We're
like,
still the same people,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's like, do you start thinking about it? And yeah, well, yeah, we haven't really like blew up each other lately or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you become the family that goes to church and you're
Mhm.
raising your kids in church. And um what what makes you take the jump then from working on a farm and teaching and then raising your kids um to go into stateside missionary work? Like tell me that story.
So, um, in there, we started coming to family camp. We had some other friends that had invited us up to on a Labor Day
Mhm.
family camp weekend, and just kind of fell in love with camp.
Hmm.
And we'd done that a few times, and then COVID kind of was in there and threw a wrench into some of that. Dan Jarvis had a little blurb that said, "Make it your goal to not have your goal, but to have God's goal."
Hmm.
And at that time, both of my grandparents had passed away, and we knew we was gonna be getting some inheritance and stuff, and was like, we'd kind of had our little plan. I mean, even had like some properties. Like I'm pretty sure I could buy that. We'd build a house and
Hmm.
be able to do that. And we was praying, God bless my idea. And then so we'd been praying about that for a while, and that just
Mhm.
changed everything there. And that was like right off of COVID, and it was a small group of people there that week. It was, I don't know, 20 families or something like
That
that,
was very
Hmm.
little.
and become friends with several of them, just real tight knit. And then people like Brent and Dave and some of the other people there, like all week was like, how can we be praying for you guys? How can we, just, I mean, we do that a lot, but it was just like abnormally
Yeah.
amount of
Like
asking.
felt focused on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like, well, and that was on Tuesday, that
Yeah. It was
message
Tuesday
from
morning.
Dan. And it was just, we don't know, we know change is coming, but we, pray
Wow.
for our
Yeah,
change.
sure.
And basically, ultimately, that ended up us at Life Action.
Yeah. So then through a series of there was some Facebook posts and um a newsletter from Life Action that just kind of prompted the thinking.
Hmm.
And so when the newsletter came out, there was job listings, like needs for the ministry. And there were 3 or 4 different things that were on there that I was like, he could do. So I remember I handed him my phone, really sitting on the couch after the kids had gone to bed. I handed him my phone with this newsletter and he read it and like tossed it back at me. I thought, oh, oops, I messed up. So when we had been at family camp that summer, Dan did the like morning messaging, and John Avant was doing the evening messaging, and so we had kind of built a relationship with John and Donna, and so then the next morning after the newsletter, then he says to me, "Well, why don't you message John and see if he'll give me a call?" And I was like, "Okay," like I don't really know what this means. So he had a nice conversation with John, and they felt like there might be a fit. Um, so we prepared resumes, sent that stuff in. That was early October. A few weeks later,
What was that job for?
there were
So,
several things. There was like grounds maintenance and
Okay.
and the order fulfillment center
Okay.
and something else. I can't remember what all of the
I
things
think it
were.
was facilities manager.
Might have been. There
Okay.
was several things
Got
that
it.
I was like, you could do
Sure.
that. Like,
Sure.
so we
Mhm.
came up for the marriage retreat, which is something that God had put on my heart when we were here over the summer
Hmm.
because we knew John and Donna were speaking.
Sure.
And I was like, we need to come. But of course, working in ag, fall is No,
Right.
typically. And so I had
And
just
that's what I told her.
and he was like, "Well, that's
Right.
not gonna happen. Like, we're not going." And I was like, So I still prepared. We had puppies. So I prepared dog sitter. I prepared childcare. I'm gonna be ready. Because I knew that it was if it happened, it was a last minute, like, yes.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay. So I had everybody on standby.
Wow.
And Thursday morning he sends me a text and he's like, I think we're gonna be able to go this weekend. Okay. So
Like, I know, I'm already ready.
right,
Yeah.
like
Already packed.
made all the things. Yes, we're going. Pack everybody's stuff. And so we came up, well, because we were last minute reservations, we ended up at a table with John and Donna.
Okay.
And so then just having a little more conversation with them. And by the time the weekend was over, we knew that, like, this is where God had us. I mean, all the formalities hadn't been done,
Mhm.
official interviews and all
Yeah.
that, but it just like we knew. And so at the time, our daughter was dealing with a lot of anxiety and worries and things. And so on the way home, the 5-hour drive back home, and he's like, I think we need to tell the kids tonight. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. Like, between emotional things and just being up late nights. And I
Yeah.
was like, I am done. I'm like, are you sure we have to do it tonight? And he's like, yep, I think we really need to tell the kids tonight. I'm like, okay, listen. Because her anxiousness and her worries would end up like manifesting a stomach ache and
Yeah.
she'd be sick.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, but you're dealing with whatever happens.
Right.
I'm going to bed. And he's like, that's fine. And she was at complete peace.
Hmm.
Like, didn't even bat an eye at it at all. Like, he said, we're going to have to raise support and we're going to move up there and that's where we're going to live and we're going to be away from all our family. And she was like, okay.
Hmm.
And so then that was
Interesting.
confirmation
Yeah.
really to me that, like, yes, this is what we're supposed to do.
Did she enjoy when she would come to family camp?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they
maybe she
absolutely
felt
loved
like,
it.
Mhm.
And we kept telling them, like, it's not family camp all the time. Like, we're going to have a house. Dad's going to go to work. You still have to do school. Like, it's normal life just there.
yeah.
But she was at complete peace with it.
Huh.
And so, for the little anxious child who, like, every little thing had upset her, um, it was just confirmation from God
Oh,
that
and what
that is
peace as a mom
exactly,
for you?
yeah, that's exactly what we were supposed to do.
Mm. So what did your families think? Because you grew up not in church and now, hey guys, we're gonna raise support and we're gonna 5 hours away.
Mhm.
How'd that go?
Yeah, my mom wasn't thrilled, still isn't
They're
thrilled
pretty much thought
about
we're
it. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, really.
You know?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know that any of them was honestly surprised, really.
no, because we had really kind of like dove in. Like,
Mhm.
there wasn't a like get your feet wet. We just jumped in. And so then the drastic transformation of how we lived
Yeah.
um kind of should have been a hint to them that things were not going to be the same anymore.
And so you had to then raise support.
Yeah.
Okay. So was that difficult?
It was a whirlwind.
Okay.
When we interviewed around
No.
Thanksgiving time,
That
it was like the week before Thanksgiving, till we got here was what, 9 months?
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was just a whirlwind. And it definitely had been that God had put those right people in
Mm.
our path, because I started doing the crop consulting thing and there was like 4 or 5 people that supported us out of that I wouldn't have known, really. I mean, one guy had heard that we was going to Life Action. He'd had a team stay at his house
Hmm.
and heard that I was coming and called me and says, I want to support you. How do I do that? And I'm like, well, we'll set up, we can meet and talk about it. He goes, nope, I don't want to waste your time. He goes, I just need to know where to send the check, basically. And, and I'm like, well, it's not wasting my time. It's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. But okay, so we sent him the link of our account and
Yeah.
he set it up and been supporting us ever since.
Is it incredible to you that there are people out there like that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and
If
we
you don't
had-
grow up in
Yeah.
this environment,
yeah,
right?
well, and we had good friends that
Mm.
which actually, like, I had gone to school with the couple. He was actually a couple years older and she was 1 year older, and um people I wouldn't necessarily have been friends with before knowing God. Um but we had become close friends, and so we were up here at a retreat
They're the ones that
in that
invited us.
in that midst.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they had invited us to Life Action,
Mm.
kind of in the middle of the uncertainty. And so I kind of confided in her and told her what was going on. And she said, well, that's really interesting because we have money set aside to support someone at Life Action. We just didn't know who it was yet. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Like,
What was it, and what is it about Life Action that made you want to be a part of it?
I think just part of it's the impact that had on our family
Mm.
of being at
Mhm.
Pet Family Camp. Mhm.
And the people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I think one of the reasons we fell in love with camp was just you get out of the car and right away people wanted to pray for us.
Mhm.
Um, and just even as we were here, like the first weekend camp that we were here, and the kids felt loved,
Mhm.
we felt loved, like people care.
Mhm.
Um, and so it doesn't really matter what you're going through, what baggage that you had when you
Mhm.
got here. There are people to walk with you. Um, and then that next summer when we were able to come for a full week, um, the kids were young enough then to have a family assistant. And what a blessing. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, our kid, like, we only have two, and there's two of us, so we can help them through the food line, and we can do a lot of things with them. For like a teen or a young adult, just to come along and love on your kids, like, it was so fruitful for them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and we've seen that in different churches we've been in,
Mhm.
and um, the different people who came alongside them.
Mhm.
I mean, the year that we had come buying a house, we had a young man that was our family assistant, and praise God for him because uh, he ended up sick, and I'm trying to do bank paperwork on my phone with the limited signal at the camp. But that family assistant, it was like he just knew,
Mm.
and I'd be trying, like, I had to stay close to the Wi-Fi to do the things. And he's like, I'm gonna take the kids and go here. I'm gonna take the kids and go there. Just let me know when you're done. Like it was amazing. Just the way they pour into other
Uh-huh.
people.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
It's always been a blessing.
Spinky always talks about, when he talks about camp, talks about intentionally making it a place where families can come and just release their cares and burdens and troubles in the world for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so that they could still their mind, because in the stillness is where they'll be able to hear from God.
Mhm.
So did you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Oh,
that what it felt like?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And is that something that drew you in to like want to be part of that, like helping to provide that for others?
I believe so. Really, when we started the interview process and wanted to be part of Life Action, it was just put me where I'd
Mm.
be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
make it.
Which is probably why you've ended up with so many
It is.
positions
Yeah.
because we
Yes.
just
Just
hold it
yeah.
open. Like, where are we best, like,
Mhm.
most
Well,
needed?
Yeah. When I interviewed Darcy, he said, God doesn't call the able, he calls the available.
mhm. Yeah.
Right? Just asking people, just will you
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
available? Like
Mhm.
and just
Well, God will provide you with
yeah.
what you need to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that
Sure.
He wants you to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so what was it like to bring your family up here? You find a house and you guys just give it a go.
So like I said, we came up like a Wednesday before we were going to start family camp on Monday morning. Um, we came up, we saw a house on Wednesday, a house on Thursday. We had scheduled to see 5 on Friday with our realtor, and we got done on Friday, and none of them felt right.
Mhm.
We could make some of them work, and it like probably would have been okay. It just they weren't it. And so we kind of went back to the drawing board and we online and looking at houses, and we had found one that we kind of had discredited that we thought was too small, and okay, well, if we added in the garage and this and that, like maybe it could work. And then one had just come on the market. And so he got a hold of the realtor at like 8 o'clock on a Friday night. Like, we have to see these tomorrow. Can you make it happen? Um, and our daughter gets up. She was like 7, almost 7. She gets up and comes out into like the uh, seating area of the hotel room. And she said, I know our house. God showed it to me in a dream.
Mm.
And I kind of looked at her funny and I said, well, have we been there? She goes, no, we haven't been there yet. Like, okay. I said, "Sis, listen, Daddy and I feel like we're struggling. Like, we don't know what house is right for us. So if you see our house, you really need to tell us because we need your help." She's like, "Okay." So we get ready and we go to the first house, which is the one we thought was too small. And there were some like structural things that we were not
Mhm.
super excited about. We get in the car and I looked at her, I said, "Was that it?" She said, "Nope." We both kind of,
Like, whew.
whew,
Yeah.
okay. And so we go to the next house, which had only been on the market about 24 hours. And the kids kind of stayed with the realtor as he's messing with the key box to get in the front door. Rick and I walked out in the backyard, kind of just surveying things. And the kids couldn't have been in the house 30 seconds.
Mhm.
I don't know. She comes sprinting into the backyard screaming, "This is it. This is our house. This is the one in my dream." And we kind of both looked at each other like, "Really?"
Yeah, we haven't even been in it yet.
And so we were like, "Well, hold on a minute, because Mom and Dad haven't been in the house. Like, let's like at least look through it." We walked through and didn't see anything
Yeah.
alarming and put an offer on the house. Ended up getting that house at Christmas that first year. We've decorated and whatever. And she walks into the dining room. I'm sitting at the table. She walks in behind me and she just kind of looked around. She said, "Yep, this was my dream." So I don't know what she saw
Yeah.
in her dream that like, but that's the first room when she walked in the front door and like the front hallway and turned, that's the room. And so she just knew.
So, and you come here, you've done a couple different jobs then.
Mhm.
So talk about those jobs that you've done.
So when I first got here, I was out in the OFC, the Order Fulfillment Center,
Okay.
and managed
Mhm.
the warehouse out there.
Okay.
Um, and then when ROH was starting to branch off, then that's when they hired their own people to do
Sure.
that. And leadership here was like, okay, you guys can ROH can rent the warehouse, but
Yeah.
we want to keep Rick. So
Uh-huh.
so then I came to the facilities team and managed that for a few months or almost a year, I suppose. And then now I'm doing the
Yeah.
event operations stuff.
Yeah. And what do for this position that you're starting, um, like, what do you hope for that? Like, what do you hope for that position, or what are you hoping to do with that?
Well, what I'm excited about is being able to interact with the guests a lot
Okay.
more. So in my last couple jobs, I haven't, I've been more of a behind the
Yeah.
scenes type of
Sure.
thing, or I'll go talk to a guest when their toilet's not working or something.
Yeah.
But now I'll be there for like check in and stuff like that to be able to actually have conversations with them and get to kind of pray over them and pour into them like what's done to us.
Yeah. So you're excited about just being able to have those intentional
Mm,
moments of connection
yeah.
with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that people come here because they've been so impacted by life action events.
Mm,
What do you think is part of, like, if we had to say, like, the secret sauce? And I know God does all of it,
mm.
and it's the work of the Holy Spirit, right? So we acknowledge that. What is it about the context that you think life action creates that's, like, I guess, unique or different?
Um, I would say at least at camp, it's that quiet, that still time. I think just making that intentional time to have time with God to
Mhm.
connect with Him. Um, I think honestly with the road teams, I think it's they point it out and almost like here it is. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Just pointing out the
Yeah.
truth and doing it out of love.
Mhm.
Mm,
Why do you think it's so important for families? I mean, it's great. It's great to come, have a vacation, have a week where you can pour into your family and reconnect.
mhm.
Um, but on a spiritual level, I guess, why do you think something like that is important?
I think the one that really got us was when we was at camp. It was the games or the activities was really connected to the messaging.
Hmm.
And we did the activities together as a family. So then it brought it all together and it helped grow all of us because, we're in the adult stuff, the kids are in the kid stuff, but it's still talking about the same thing.
Mhm.
And then we go play this game that's talking about the same thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's just
Mhm.
that intentionality that they bring it all
Yeah.
together.
And is intentionality important to you both because you didn't maybe grow up with that intentionality of?
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it just feels like even, I mean, in our home life and things that we're doing, like it's always trying to bring things full circle. I
Mhm.
mean, I know we definitely don't do it perfect all the
Oh,
time.
right.
Um,
Yes, right?
but just when you're and having conversations with the kids,
Mhm.
um, like why we do what we do and um, how that is like pointing back to God.
Mhm.
I mean, just in like, they do sports or whatever, just trying to remind them that those skills and talents that you have aren't just yours. Like they were given to you.
Mhm.
How are you going to use that? When we went to camp, like um, the time, I mean, we were busy all the time and we still are. But I mean, him working in ag, like it was long hours. It
Yeah.
was um, just a lot of time away from the kids. And so for him to be able to pause and spend that intentional time with them, um, as it's big impacts for the kids.
Mhm.
And so for people who can come um, and just step out of the busyness of the everyday life um, and hear from God and spend the time together, I just think it's lasting memories, but it's also the fruit of that
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
goes on for generations.
Yeah. You got to be able to be around other people that
Mhm.
poured into you. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now it's your turn, right?
Mhm.
Now you get to be those people. Is that exciting?
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's really cool. As you look back on your story and the story that God is writing for both of you, when you get to the end and you look back, what do you hope your legacy is?
That we were obedient,
Mm.
Mhm. Yep.
just hearing from him and doing what he asks.
Mm.
Yep.
What about you?
Yep. And just doing what God wants me to do. That's
Mm.
yep. Being the obedient.
Mhm.
Obedience a hard word these days, isn't it?
And been doing
It's
it for 10 years now. I just want to be doing what God wants me to do
Yeah.
with everything. I mean, I've even prayed over meetings and conversations that I've had to have. Just God, tell me what to say.
And do you feel like he answers?
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Holy Spirit works in us just, constantly.
Well, I can tell by your story that it's certainly been one of transformation. Just the fact that you're sitting here, right? You wouldn't have thought that
Yeah.
No.
No,
years
I
from now.
couldn't get her to leave Mercer County,
Oh, yeah.
Illinois. Many years later, moved to Michigan to
Yeah.
to do it, to do
Yeah.
ministry work that never. I mean,
Yeah.
and
When I said he could get a job anywhere, I definitely wasn't thinking that.
You weren't
right,
thinking Southwest
yeah,
Michigan? Come on.
right.
The
Well, and I wasn't
Metropolis
thinking
Buchanan?
ministry, but
Well, what a cool story. Do you ever think about that your kids are watching it?
they're living it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do life alongside of us.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, God showed Caroline our house. Like,
Mhm.
they encourage us just as much as we encourage them.
Mhm.
Um, our church back home in Illinois, the pastor will often say there's no junior Holy Spirit. And they
Mhm.
are evidence of that. Like,
Mhm.
um, they quite possibly walk closer with him than I do.
Mm.
Um, so they're watching it and they'll be able to come out on the other side and see it, but they're also living it.
Mhm.
Um, and so hopefully that will be fruitful in their lives and they will bring their kids alongside them
Mm.
in the same way. So
That's also a pretty cool legacy
And
as a
they're
parent.
both servant hearted
they're
too. Our son Curtis is even more servant. I mean,
just recently, like I'm helping in our kids ministry at the church and we needed volunteers in our pre-K class. And so I told him that it was an opportunity for him to serve, but he would miss his Sunday school time with his friends. And he said, Mom, I have to serve.
Mm.
So it just,
mhm.
it warms our hearts that they desire to serve God already. And we just pray that it continues.
That's great.
So
Well, thanks for sharing your story and thanks for being obedient. I mean, how God has worked in your lives and through other people in
mhm.
your lives is pretty cool to see. And I think it's kind of inspiring to people who are maybe like nervous about extending the invitations,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because you just don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, you just don't know. So that's really cool. And I'll be praying for your new position, and how God will kind of bring this whole thing full circle. And now you're in the seat where you get to be encouraging to other people. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see how it works out.
Yeah,
All
me
right.
too.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Changed Lives. If you were encouraged or inspired by what you heard, I want to invite you to take the next step. You can support the people whose story you just heard and others like them by visiting lifeaction.org/changedlives. Whether through prayer, giving, or sharing these stories, you can be part of what God is doing to revive relationships and transform lives.